How close are you, Shane?
I'm about 3 minutes away.
Okay.
But go ahead and start. I'm ready.
Okay. All right. So I will call this meeting of Seneca County Commissioners for December 10th, 2020 to order. First order of business would be to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
Of the United States of America.
to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Shane, if you can, could you please honor us with a prayer?
Yes. I was going to do this in Yiddish, but since I'm driving, I won't. But to all of our constituents that are celebrating Hanukkah, I want to wish them a blessed Hanukkah. And Lord Savior, blessed are you who has sanctified us with your commandments. You are our light, and allow us to light and maintain the Hanukkah lights. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Okay. Roll call, please, Nikki.
Commissioner Kirschner,
Here.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Here.
Commissioner Thomas,
Here.
Okay, so we have actually 2 minutes, two sets of minutes to approve, both the last Thursday's meeting and also Tuesday's meeting. So I think that was Monday the 7th. Might have been Tuesday. Anyways, December 3rd and December 7th. I'll accept the motion for approval of those minutes.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Second. Thank you. Okay. Nikki, roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes. So we have scheduled right off the top, it looks like report from the Tiffin Area Chamber of Commerce, Tiffin Seneca Area Chamber of Commerce. So I assume Mr. Bryce is on the line here, Mr. Riggs.
Good morning, sir. First, I'm actually going to kick it off to Peter Holbrook. He's on your screen, our board chair. So, Peter, go ahead.
Good morning, and it's my pleasure to be with you today. I'm Pete Holbrook, and I'm chair of the Board of Trustees of the Chamber of Commerce and Seneca Regional Council, Regional Visitors Bureau, as well as then in my day job, I'm provost and chief academic officer at Tiffin University. And so one of the things that I wanted to be able to do in part of our report was, again, we've been Bryce has been with us for the past 5 months already, but I wanted to just recall for you the hiring process that we use to bring Bryce in, and then some of the initial things that our board wanted to make sure that we put into place moving forward. And so part of the things that we wanted to do as a board, and this was after talking with Tony and other constituencies, is to make sure that we had a strong relationship with the county commissioners along with the tourism stakeholders. And so making sure that we're putting together in place feedback mechanisms, if you will, councils in which we are able to get the feedback that is needed in order to continue to advance our work around promoting Destination Seneca County. And so in that whole process of hiring and putting Bryce into place, we kept in mind that the biggest thing that we wanted to accomplish within the first 6 months, and we're on target to do that, is to make sure that we reaffirm our relationship with the commissioners, along with making sure that we're putting in place the mechanisms that we have a really robust group of advisors from the tourism area giving us counsel when we move forward. And so I'm pleased to report that we have done both of those and that Bryce has been working with the commissioners and especially with Tony as our liaison as we look at putting together a contract and how we can support the work of Destination Seneca County and the things that we need to address. And so I think Bryce will talk about that, and we've had that front and center. The second thing that I just wanted to talk about is that we really made sure that when Bryce came in, we had a set of goals and objectives. One of them was to address Destination Seneca County, continue to build the relationship with those stakeholders, but also with the commissioners, but also coming back to addressing this contract and putting into a place something that we haven't had the opportunity to revisit the contract that we put into place of how we are providing the administrative leadership and service to this account. And so I'm real pleased with the direction that we've done. And as you can see from the profile on Facebook, as well as the growth in chamber members, along with our presence within the community and some of the initiatives that Bryce and his team has put into place, we are well in the direction that the chamber wants to go in, and the board is very pleased with that. And so with that introduction, I want to reintroduce it again, Bryce Riggs, our Executive Director of the Chamber. We are so pleased that he's with us, and again, pleased that he's building these strong relationships to help us to address any concerns that we had outstanding about Destination Seneca County, the Chamber's role in helping to manage that, and our partnership with the commissioners. So, Bryce.
Thanks, Peter. I appreciate that. Now I'm going to actually start a quick presentation. So I'm going to share my screen for everyone to see. And you should be able to see it. Perfect. So again, thanks again for having me on this morning. My name is Bryce Riggs. I'm the Executive Director of the Seneca Regional Chamber of Commerce, as well as Destination Seneca County, as Peter mentioned. In this role a little over 5 months, and I'm super excited about where we're going with this organization and the growth we had. I'm going to give a quick update on, in regards to the chamber, some of the things we're working on, and then primarily going to be focusing on Destination Seneca County today, because I know that's what we want to talk about. First of all, I'll introduce the teams. They're both on here today. To my left is Brittany Cook. She's the marketing director for Destination Seneca County. Sorry, my apologies. She's the marketing director for Seneca County, Destination Seneca County, and she's been instrumental in working with our destinations to be a resource for all the resources moving forward, as well as communicating their story. We've really relied on her background in journalism to really tell the story of Seneca County far and wide. And on my right is Deb Martirana, the Director of Internal Operations here at the Chamber of Commerce. She's been a staple for over 25 years to this organization. Such a workhorse. She's been instrumental to my onboarding process with so much institutional knowledge of this organization and a lot of the things we've done in our past. In the last few months, this organization has had a lot to celebrate. We've recently surpassed 358 members, the largest membership this organization has had in over a decade. And the momentum has not stopped. We're now currently sitting about 369 members strong today, and we understand that the chamber is only as strong as the members that we have within it. And we're extremely appreciative of the intentional investment our members make into a chamber membership. When I joined this organization, one of the first tasks was to find an easy way to articulate the value of a chamber membership. Through my meetings with chamber members and other stakeholders, I was able to break down the value of a chamber membership into 4 points: education, relationships, promotions, and resources and savings. And I won't get too far into those, but just want to give a quick overview. And then sponsorships moving forward for 2021. One of the biggest concerns I've had since taking this role was balancing my time between the chamber and Destination Seneca County. I'm excited that moving forward, we're moving into a one ask model, starting with 2021. And this will allow me to free up more time working with Destination Seneca County and strengthening tourism here in Seneca County. And here's my update regarding Destination Seneca County. Really the biggest surprise I have had since taking on this role was the number of members who didn't know that we actually managed the contract for Destination Seneca County. And all the chamber's marketing materials, you will see that we made an intentional decision to highlight Destination Seneca County and the role it has in attracting visitors to the county that in the end will support our small businesses here in our community. With the ongoing pandemic, we were expecting bed tax figures to be down this year with less individuals traveling and some individuals working remotely and not visiting our county. We were pleased to see that the most recent figures were only down 11% compared to a 57% decline during the heat of the lockdown. So those numbers continue to get better, and we're excited about the future of those bed tax numbers. Our community went through a major branding initiative in 2018. The Chamber Destination Seneca County's brand marks were changed, and I've used this as an opportunity to refresh many of our brand materials for both organizations. My next few slides will feature some of the work that's been completed by a strong rural business here in our community, Audrey Burkholder with AB Digital Marketing. As part of our brand refresher, we have made intentional investments into marketing efforts that we feel give us the most exposure for the county. Many recall the billboard that was located on US 23 near Upper Sandusky. We feel that the new billboard concept better communicates the story of a growing and thriving Seneca County and equally represents the entire county from Fostoria to the Seneca County caverns just outside of Bellevue. Our efforts on social media continue to pick up, and you'll find that our materials from the Chamber to Destination Seneca County are all connected within the brand that we have created. We also spent a lot of time investing in the digital marketing and moving away from print ads. We recently partnered with Laura Lenses, a local small business, to begin video blogging for Destination Seneca County. Laura was just out in downtown Tiffin this past weekend in the James Market for the Christmas walk, blogging, and we can't wait to share it. We also understand that we need to invest in marketing materials that really resonate across all age ranges. So next week, we'll actually have a TikTok influencer. Many of you probably never heard of the TikTok social media platform, but it's kind of big with the younger generation. And this influence will highlight some of our exciting things happening in our community, and we can't wait to see what that looks like. One of the initiatives that we've worked on is really telling the story of our destinations and all the events happening in Seneca County. So one of the recent initiatives that we did was the Christmas in Seneca County blog, which has really taken off. It serves as a hub for all holiday events happening here in Seneca County, and folks are able to submit their events into us. We put it together nicely so it serves as a hub. You'll see other posts we have with Ralph's Joy Living, a destination in downtown Tiffin, the 1-year anniversary of Olive Valley Products, and then the Tiffin Ghost Walks we also featured. From feedback I've heard during my interview process, we've put a lot of work into the meeting with our tourism stakeholders on a consistent basis to better understand how we can serve our partners, whether it be our hotels featured in the bottom left-hand corner with Hampton Inn, or other tourism partners like Michelle Cochran and Fostoria. Everyone's voice is important in the conversation. Just this week, Bernie and I made trips to Bob Gilmore, the cannon maker in Old Fort, and Sabrina Schneppet, the owner of Winterberry Farms. And we'll be doing additional work with them as we move forward. I'm happy to report that we will roll out a tourism council that will meet quarterly beginning at the end of January 2021. This group of individuals will represent the entire county, including destinations, community leaders, and hotel representatives. This group will look for ways to strengthen tourism in Seneca County. Our tourism partners have expressed their desire in strengthening our visitor's guide as we move into the future. A few new features in our new guide will be included that will be released in May 2021 is a map of Seneca County included in the guide, a larger size guide, and a completely redesigned guide. The Tourism Council will also have the final approval on this guide moving forward. When we roll out the new visitor's guide in May of this year, one thing was clear from the conversations we had with our tourism partners. They did not have the proper stock photos to truly highlight their experiences to our community and our visitors. We have worked with local photographers and paid for many of our partners to get much needed upgrades in the promotional photos. And over the course of the next few slides, we're going to show you some of the work we've done. So this is the splash pad from the light shows this past year. The Ritz Theater, Ralph's Joy of Living. This is one of my favorite photos, the 9/11 Memorial, the Renaissance of Tiffin, and the Tiffin Ghost Walks with Lisa Swickard. Through our conversations with Sarah Betts in the Seneca County Park District, we walked through a needs assessment to better understand how Destination Seneca County can best help them moving forward. It was evident that they needed an updated video that captured all their parks that could be shown as a marketing piece. Our office worked with our friends at the Dead Shark Productions to begin their planning process for a video that will be released for the 25th anniversary in the spring of 2021. Moving forward, we're actually going to co-partner with a lot of our different tourism partners to split the cost of a video that they can use for promotional purposes and that we'll also use. So this is something that we're excited to roll out in the spring. And it's an initiative that you'll see probably many other organizations partner with us in the future. During the week of February, our organization will participating in the Heartland Travel Showcase, which is one of the largest showcases for bus operators in the country. During this week, we will unveil our new profile sheet that has been refreshed from years past. Our most exciting news, I think, so far this year has been the partnership with Sandusky County's Convention and Visitors Bureau for 2021. Through feedback from our destination partners, it's clear that we need to do a better job at bringing additional bus traffic to Seneca County. Sandusky is what I would consider an expert in bus tours in the state of Ohio, and the ability to partner with them has put us on the right path. We've announced a release of in the 419 series that will allow us to cross-sell our experiences. Instead of getting on a bus for a half day, we hope that our Foodie in the 419 series may get these bus tour companies the opportunity to spend a whole day in the region and stay overnight in either Seneca or Sandusky counties. The same could be said about the history and spirits of the 419. We also expect an increase in bus traffic as a result of the counties selling these together. Again, thanks for having me on today. I really appreciate sharing some of the work that we've done here at Destination Seneca County. Obviously, there's a lot of work ahead of us, and we've really, started chipping away at what we've done so far. And as Peter mentioned, the contract is really long overdue, and we look forward to renewing the partnership between Destination Seneca County and the Chamber of Commerce, as well as the Seneca County Commissioners. And I'll open up for any questions.
Bryce, thank you very much. Peter, thank you very much for the presentation. Any questions from anyone listening today?
I have a comment, Commissioner Kirschner. So there is a contract in place already between the county commissioners and Destination Seneca County. My understanding, Bryce and Peter, is that you've reviewed that and you'll be, you're asking for a 3-year. You would like to reset that contract. There's a few little changes that you put in there, and you're asking for a 3-year kind of rolling contract. So in the spirit of moving that forward, I'd like you to send that over to us. We can allow, which is typical what we do. We let the prosecutor review that, and maybe we can talk about that next week formally, but I want to get that in because I think that's part of the presentation.
It is.
Okay, I see that Michael Strong has a comment he would like to make. Michael?
Yes, I want to commend Bryce and the team over there for what they've done. He's been in my office more in his 5 months than any other former executive director of the chamber has been. The energy is palpable. I can really see that things are going in the right direction, and I'm excited to be on board. To be honest, we were going to drop out because the chamber wasn't doing for us what we needed it to do. Now, when Bryce comes to my office, he asks me, what can I do for you, rather than gives me things I can do for them. I'm very in much admiration of what the work that's going on there, and I urge you to continue the contract with the Destination Seneca County.
Thank you, Michael. Good comments. Shane?
Yeah, I just say that, we are seeing a remarkable difference here. So I'm happy about that. Some of the things that we wanted previously were, regular updates and more transparency on the revenue and the expenses. So I think, whatever we do, I think we need to incorporate that so that we're on the same page. So, Bryce, if you have an idea of what you think is appropriate for the number of reports to the commissioners, that would, certainly accept that recommendation. So this is, taxpayer money, and we do have a fiduciary obligation to, monitor its expenditures. So, we just want to make sure that it's transparent and that everybody has an opportunity to see where that money's going.
Yep,
I agree. Would a quarterly update be sufficient for you? And I feel like a quarterly update with tourism councils probably, their role will be to monitor our expenses, et cetera, but a quarterly update to the commissioners.
I think semi-annual is enough.
All right.
What commissioners, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, Bryce, you have monthly meetings with the chamber and that board and kind of go over everything, right? So
We do.
I would like that. I think a semi-annual meeting, unless you feel there's a need for a special meeting or report.
Yeah, I'm good with that. That's fine. Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions or comments? Okay, let's move on. We do have the Alley vacation hearing scheduled for 10:15. We're a bit past that. Stacy?
I just need to open the hearing and see if there's any comments or questions.
I see Tiffany's on. She attended the viewing this morning, and I did talk to Loudon Township trustees, and they are okay with it. And I talked to, of course, Mark Zimmerman led the viewing, and he didn't have any problems with it. So
are we in a position to take any action at this point, or do we need to have someone review it before we do?
I'll make a motion that we approve the alley, that we vacate the alley as presented.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Okay, any additional discussion anywhere? All right, Nikki, please.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes,
Okay, I will get that signed and sent over to the auditor and the recorder and get all the paperwork to the necessary parties.
okay.
Yeah, and just for everybody's information, that was alleys that were plotted and never used, and so they're essentially fields at this point, and so there wasn't any disagreement.
And I will just say I had the opportunity to view the situation and talk to parties, and I echo what you said, Shane. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Paradiso, at 10:30, we have Green Springs, Adams and Pleasant Township scheduled. I'm gonna let you kind of take the lead on this.
Okay.
Move this forward.
Bill Frankert, are you able to speak?
Yes, Tony.
Okay, so as an introduction, we Seneca County Commissioners /EMS have been approached by Pleasant Township, Adams Township, and Green Springs to they've approached us and would like to entertain discussions with us as far as providing them EMS service. That is obviously a topic that's ongoing within the walls of the Commissioner's office and throughout the county. So we felt it was time that we formally, through a meeting, invited them in. And so, Bill, I will yield to you. You're up.
Got a swing and a miss here.
Yeah. And Mr. Greenslade, are you on, Mayor?
This is Bill. I just got hooked up here, but I wasn't really involved. I talked to Dave this morning, just knew that this was going on and that. Not sure where we're at on stuff.
Okay. So we need to work on Wi-Fi out in the county. But
Tony, we had technical difficulty here. I
there you are. Oh my God, it looks like you're together even. Okay.
We had to solve pretty quick here.
Okay, so go ahead. You have the floor.
So thank you, Tony, for having us join your meeting this morning. As you're well aware that the end of June, our contract with North Central is up for renewal. So through conversations, we understand the county is looking for a system like we currently have with the 24/7, 365-day coverage for Green Springs, Adams, and Pleasant Township. So we are hoping to collaboratively work with, the county and, use the squad, in our area with that. So that's why we've kind of open discussions as you guys are looking at a countywide system at this point.
Okay, Adam, anything to add?
No, I mean, just to Bill's point, we've always kind of looked at various solutions that we've been using as kind of Band-Aids to get to this countywide full-time type system. So we're just like we did 6-7 years ago. Now we're back to kind of doing our due diligence and looking at all the options. Obviously, we want to be part of the solution to the bigger fix. Even when we went with our contracted system, we said it probably wasn't, where we wanted to be, but it was a good kind of starting point. So we're kind of back to doing our due diligence now, and hopefully through conversations, we can come up with where we want to be, which is with the county. So that's all I have.
Yeah, and I would just add that we've begun the process with our current system, our 5 current districts. We are in conversation with them. Commissioners are meeting on a regular basis. There are extremes, so we're not all on the same page yet. But I look forward to bringing you into the discussions. Not sure exactly where this is all going to go, but we appreciate your wanting to come in. I think looking long term, the less fragmented our system is, and the more makes the stronger the countywide system can be. So I think the timing is good on all parts, and we look forward to including you and then beginning in conversations. So we're having a monthly meeting with the entire county, and then we are also prepared and open to having separate meetings with the various districts, since all the different boards are kind of maybe in different places. So those are my comments to both my commissioners and to you, and we'll see what they have to say. But I would end it with, we look forward to a follow-up and to engaging into some serious conversation on how this might look and work.
Sure. And just agree with everything you said, Tony, and we understand your position and where the county is currently in this discussion. Again, we're looking at all options, and we still do have, our private option on the table. But again, we are where we were 6 or 7 years ago, where we're looking at every single option that's available to us.
Good.
Appreciate your time. It takes a lot of time, as we found through the course of our diligence too, Tony, as you start meeting with everybody. And yeah, we get it. We understand.
So with that, commissioners, questions, comments?
Got to get off mute here. Our ultimate goal, Adam and Bill, as you guys know, is to provide the best professional service we can in a timely manner to get to anybody that needs it in the county. So whatever we can do to get to that end, we certainly want to continue discussions. And as Tony said, the more townships and more ambulance districts that are involved, I think the better the system will be. It comes down to a lot of things, it comes down to cultures, and it comes down to cash, I guess the 2 big C's. So, we just hope we can all get together and work any issues that we have out. And I would like nothing better than to see a combined district sometime in the future.
If I could, Commissioner Kirschner, I'd like to add 1 C to your comments, and that's consistency. I'd love to see a consistent level of service across the county, consistent level of hours across the county. That's the only thing I'd add. Thank you.
Okay, we could probably come up with some more C's. Shane, you got another one?
Yeah, I want to get back to the C of cash. What kind of revenue are we looking at from our northern townships and Green Springs?
I have, if you guys have it, feel free to comment. But I do have that available. Actually, I have it on top of my head. So it's around 325,000, 315, 325,000 of tax revenue, not including any transports or run revenue that may occur. I believe, does that feel and sound right, Adam and Bill combined?
Yeah, Adams Township is about 100, not quite 108,000. I'm not sure what Pleasance is. I don't know if Dave's on or not. And then Green Springs is,
well, we bring in about 75,000, but that gets split between EMS and fire, with a little bit more going towards EMS than fire. And then we cover the rest of it out of our general fund.
And then I think Pleasant's around 166. So Shane, I'm back to the 315, 3.25 number, plus any runs and transports that, and we Depends how
Okay.
it goes. And that's,
Yeah, we're talking about
that's
something
one
that's probably
bill.
going to cost 600,000 or north.
Hey, Tony.
Are there carryover funds in the townships, the villages?
Hang on, Dave.
Just want to let you know our number is 142.
It's 142.
Yes, that 166 number comes from a fire and EMS levy that got added in by mistake. So it's 142.
Okay. So we will obviously, you know, as we build this out and look at everything, we will obviously verify all this and crunch the numbers a little tighter. But on the surface, we have 142. Bill, did you say 107?
Yeah, 107 little change there, not quite 108.
Okay, and then, you know, Adam's 40 plus, I believe. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's more like 290 than 315, plus the runs, a couple hundred runs a year kind of thing. And so that's where they're at. And by the way, their districts, their townships and village pays a higher tax than the other 5 districts throughout the county, because when they went full-time, you worked backwards. You said, what would the tax need to be to cover this? And that's what you put on the ballot, right? Like a 2.47 and a 2.5 tax, I believe.
Yes, that is correct.
So the 2 townships in the village that we're discussing right now are paying, you know, and maybe substantially, I can't think of a C word right now, but they're paying more taxes for their EMS service in their areas than the others.
That'd be collective revenue, Tony.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think we can have a little fun with this. So
Yeah.
So in the spirit of collaboration, the rest of the conversations with the other ambulance districts have focused around the combined full-time and use of volunteers. Are we talking about that same kind of thing with you guys up there, or are we talking about an absolutely full-time paid group?
We're open to discussions.
Okay.
Yeah, however it worked, just so we have the consistent, you know, coverage as we've had, the 24/7, 365 coverage, as long as there's 2 personnel on staff that when the call goes out, you know, our entities are covered as we have currently.
Got it. Okay.
yeah, and I just, you know, I live in Pleasant Township, so I'm part of that service, and I concur. You know, I think they have really good service. I think you're real happy with what you have, and I think the taxpayers that are paying more out there feel they're getting their money's worth. There's pressure on the current cost as things go up, and we'll need to discuss those different things to see how we can. But I agree.
Can I
So,
add there?
Could I just add one thing?
This is Dave Kingsborough from Pleasant Township.
You know, information tends to flow down instead of up. And I would think that it would be great if you and the other commissioners, Tony, would go to the upper levels of politicians, for lack of a better term, and talk to them about the problems that exist at the local level for EMS. Bill Reinecke, Jim Jordan, whoever you could talk and bend their ear, because this thing's an issue all across the state of Ohio and all across America. And we need to have people help us from the top down in funding this thing, because the volunteerism is gone. There's a few left that want to do it, and we appreciate their help, but it's basically gone. And we really need you guys as well as ourselves, to continue to pass the word up to the other people above us that can talk at the state legislature level and the federal level about the problems with EMS. It's fairly new. EMS, as Jeff Jackson told us, is really a fairly new system of having 24/7. Jeff Jackson being from Sandusky County, where they have a full-time system. So it's still growing, and it's got growing pains like everything else. And funding is definitely one of the growing pains.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. Just to follow up on, what you're looking for is location. Is there any current thought on where it needs to be for you to participate, or geographically, is there a preference? Has there been thought around that topic?
I would say that Ken Majors offered some information a while back. I don't know if that's still where the county's at. If money's an issue to get it started, obviously we already have an EMS facility in Green Springs. But again, we're open to discussions on all of this. We want to see a consistent level of care and hours throughout the county, and be part of a countywide system. What we're doing now is not the end game for us, and we said that from the very beginning. So again, we're open to discussions. I'm not an EMS expert. I don't know where that should be located. We're going to rely on the system to help us figure that out.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I got to tell you guys, I appreciate the flexibility because it helps us with our discussions.
As we found, through our learning from working with the North Central EMS on the system that they have, that just having the people there stationed there, it gives you a lot more flexibility to be able to move. You don't have to have it right on top of folks. You can have the flexibility of that with having staffed personnel there. You don't have to wait for them to show up to hop in a squad and those situations there. So that's one of the biggest, things we found out through the process of having the full-time system there is having a staff there to be a lot more flexible, getting the scenes a lot quicker and stuff with it.
Yeah, much quicker shoot times.
I think one thing that you can look at also is the amount of runtime it takes to get to people, because there are some golden minutes that are very important to people's health care. And if they can't get to them in a period of time that helps with life-saving devices such as oxygen and paddles for resuscitation, so forth, I think those things are pretty important. And people like Ken Majors would know those things. As an EMS official, he would know those statistics to help us get to a point where the ambulances then could be strategically located.
Yeah, I think you're right, Dave. I mean, we're very fortunate to have Ken on staff. He does know what we need. The challenge is getting to that point. So, that's why we're having these conversations. What is our timeline on this? When do you need a proposal from us so that you can respond to your contract renewal? I mean, I know you said it ends in June, but what's the timeline for renewal?
Well, we'd be looking to do something probably in June. Having said that, we've had a great partner in North Central EMS. I think, we may be able to stay on with them a little bit longer if that's what we needed to do. I don't want to speak out of turn, Bill, but I think that's kind of where we're at right now. We'd love to have something figured out by the end of the contract. But if not, we do have some options potentially.
Yeah, and that's what, the sooner the better. I mean, we surely don't want to wait till the end of June to start looking at that process. So, I mean, as we get after the first year, I think we should start, seriously looking at our options with that. So that way we can respectively give them notice. And again, like Adam said, they've been phenomenal to work with. And if we get something before the end of the contract, and if we negotiate with you guys, they're willing to withdraw and let the county take over at that point in time. Or if things take a little longer, they're willing to stay. So they've been, like I say, phenomenal to work with.
Well, from my perspective, this is, this couldn't have been a better call, because I really appreciate your desire to talk and to be flexible and to look at the big picture. I think the timing is good. And so we have a formal meeting scheduled, I believe, for the second Monday of the month as a follow-up to the meeting this past Monday. And then I think after the first of the year, we can begin some discussions. We'll talk about that process. We'll involve Ken. I think it's going to involve, the bigger picture. We have to look at a lot of things. So I'm looking forward to the work that we need to do. It's good. Back to you, Commissioner Kirschner.
You're welcome. Anything else? Any other comments from anyone as it relates to Green Springs, Adams, and Pleasant Townships ambulance service? Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. As always, appreciate your comment.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Okay, Stacy, we are at the county administrator's report.
Share my screen to the CARES requests. Okay, the committee met yesterday, and there was a few things that we discussed. Getting down to the wire for having this money spent. We are potentially looking at next week being our last week for some requests to come in, because we have a lot of reconciling to do, making sure this stuff, is getting here, has gotten ordered, make sure it's going to be installed. So we talked about some different things. And as you can see, some of the little ones that we've got requested are some of the usual expenses, the remote learning, the new computers, laptops, tablets, and regional planning had a Zoom subscription that they needed reimbursed for. So we looked at the sheriff's salaries, because obviously, that's a big portion of what is allowable under the CARES Act. And we pulled from March 1st to September in their 0305 account and just ran it back to there, which put it at $680,282.60, which, as you can see, would bring our total to $2,071,323.31. We'll look at the final calculations, adding up all of our distributions, where our current expenses are at, if those are approved, the subgrantee administration fee, the second distribution that we got once all of the townships and villages returned the money to the auditor's office, it was redistributed. We've got the additional 111. FEDC had returned some funds. So if all of these are approved, then we would have about $162,000 left. We probably will have some come back from maybe Job and Family Services and United Way. I need to call Carrie and get an update from United Way. They were working on a lot of stuff last time I talked to them. So I did get an email from Ruth Ann House from GLCAP that said that they've spent their money, and they're even squeezing a couple more applications out of their administrative fee that they were receiving from us. So they have helped citizens of Seneca County
Awesome.
feel a little bit better this year. So that's good. So this is kind of what we've got so far. I do have other requests that are trickling in. And obviously, if we tell people this is going to be the last week, then I'm going to probably get quite a few for next week. But we've got to start wrapping it up, getting our timelines figured out because everything has to be completed by the 30th. So if you have any questions, the 680,000 will just go back into the general fund for the salary expense for the sheriff's office.
So Stacy, if we were to have received the grant, what's the name of the grant that I'm thinking of?
The CESF, the coronavirus emergency. Yeah. The justice grant. Yeah.
Justice grant. So if we do what you're proposing now, and then we receive that grant, do we still have enough room and salaries to absorb that? Or does that put us in a conflict with the potential of?
Since we don't know when we'll get notification of that grant, and I don't know if Charlene's gotten an update yet, but I think that goes through March. So obviously that's not going to meet our timeline, but what we can do, the money that we will be reimbursing the general fund for the sheriff's salaries, we can use that money. I mean, it's the general fund money, so we can use it as we wish.
Yeah.
But we could, you know, obviously it is coronavirus money, and the CESF grant was set aside some funds requested to cover some expenses. So I think a lot of departments would appreciate, and they have some concerns about not being able to get it if that grant doesn't come through. But the general fund could agree to do that.
Okay, so not jumping to the general fund money, but if we receive that grant or a portion of that grant, okay, let's say we get it between now and March, do we have to, will this 680 of salaries be offset by any of that money? Or is there enough ask above this to handle it?
Yes.
Okay, that's my biggest question.
Yes.
Right, because you can't get it twice, right?
Right.
Okay, so what you're proposing, obviously you feel good about it and I like it, but I'm just asking ahead that question. So you've answered it. Number two, from a pure administrative fact, I mean, it is December 10th. We've been trying to close this out, I think, for 3 or 4 meetings now. So if you need formal action to do that, I have no problem bringing up to my other commissioners that we cut this off on Friday. And if you feel we need a day or two into next week, that's fine. But I think we ought to pick a date to cut it off and then allow you to finalize this, because this is very time sensitive anyhow with year-end expenditures, those kind of things. So would you like to cut it off tomorrow? Is that something you're kind of asking?
I think I can take them up to Tuesday as long as they get me all their information. Our committee will review them on Wednesday, and then I can present those requests to you on Thursday. The committee is going to meet one more time the day before. I think that was we're having our board on the 29th, so they're going to meet on the 28th just to finalize the numbers and what would be the final distribution back to the general fund to reimburse for the salaries. Does that make sense?
Yes. So
basically next week would be the last week for.
So I'll yield back to Commissioner Kirschner on this one, but I'd like to see us cut this off formally on Tuesday, by the end of business day, the 15th, Tuesday. Any applications? If that makes sense.
Well, if the committee is still functioning through the 28th, this is what I'm hearing, because you're going to make your final report to us on the 29th.
Right.
That's plan A. Then is there a reason to cut them off prior to that, just in case anything of any size comes in between now and then?
we just got to get some of this reconciled by the end of the year to make sure we account for everything. Because some of these requests, you know, they came in, they asked us for a laptop, and then the one they wanted wasn't available, so they had to get one that was an additional $100. Or we had a quote that you approved that ended up coming in cheaper. So we've got to get those numbers reconciled, and it's just going to take a little time, you know, working with the auditor's office. And, you know, Kylie's been processing all these bills. She's been great getting that stuff done. So it's just allowing us to have extra time. I mean, obviously, you know, if it's up to you, we can extend it and take in last minute items, but I just can't see any major, I mean, the items have to be here by the 30th. They have to be, you know, the projects have to be done by the 30th. So unless it's just like masks or stuff that they can go to Walmart, get here by the 30th, we're cutting it a little close, and we got to watch those deadlines.
Okay, so do we want to cut it off on the 15th, or do we want to pick another day?
Can we just send out a communication that says we're targeting mid next week and not formally close it?
That's fine.
I'd be okay with that. I think, you know, TSEP, everything else that everybody else that's doing all this has cut everything off. The townships have sent their money up. So I'm good with that. And that's kind of like, you know, the 2-minute warning, you know, that kind of message. And if there is, but that, in fairness to Stacy and all the administrative things that you have to do between now and the end of the year. Yeah, so enough of that. I think that accomplishes.
Okay.
I'll send out
That's
an
good.
email to everybody.
I think a logical date might be the 17th, only because we meet that day, and if there are any questions to wrap things up, we could get them buttoned down then.
Okay.
Our committee usually meets Wednesdays at 1:15, and we review them, and that's what we present to you. So I would need them probably before the committee. I mean, you can approve something without the committee's recommendation, but that's what we've been doing.
Yeah, let's make it Wednesday. That makes sense.
Yep, that's fine.
Noon on Wednesday, you know, really, if you meet at 1, but that's up to you, Stace. We support bringing this to a closure.
Okay. Are you ready to accept the ones proposed? Are you okay with the ones proposed today?
Yep. So moved.
And I'll second that.
Okay, any additional discussion? Nikki?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner,
Yes.
I think that's all I have today.
Okay, commissioner reports. Commissioner Thomas?
Yeah, I'll defer my time. We've got a full schedule here.
Okay, Commissioner Paradiso?
And I think I'll do the same.
Okay, the only two things that I want to mention, and I said earlier before we were in a formal meeting, was that I'll give John Spar a second if he wants to address it. The rapid COVID tests for the frontline workers are down to less than 5, and the state is to be supplying those. We're having a difficult time with that supply chain getting them to us. So if you guys have any contact with Mr. Reineke, who has been trying to help us as well. I've called the Lieutenant Governor, I've called the Governor's office trying to move this thing forward. John, you got any comments there?
No, but we are working behind the scenes pretty closely with Mercy Hospital. ProMedica seems to be okay with their supply, but they use a different supplier. So it comes down to a matter of just supply chain logistics for the hospital, but maybe a little pressure from our elected officials will assist with that.
My only other comment was that we did review the scope of work for TSEP, Tip and Seneca Economic Partnership, and their budget for 2021. Those guys are doing a fantastic job, and I would encourage you to review their results and their scorecard, if you will, for last year. On to old business budget, Stacy.
Yep, I'll just pull it up quick. so you guys can see the bottom dollar. You guys each should have the link to be able to look at the budgets. As I'm making changes, you should be able to see those changes. I'm hoping next week we can have, you know, a deeper discussion with any recommendations. All of the general funds have submitted their budgets. So as you can tell, you know, we're sitting at $850,000 over our projected revenue right now at requests coming in. And, you know, obviously some of the big ones was, you know, you guys have asked me to put in a potential budget for the Human Resources Department, and then also, you know, putting some in for EMS. So some of those I've highlighted in yellow for you. That way, you know, you can see the changes and then ask me any questions. That's probably where we're at. I'm hoping to get next week with a lighter agenda, have a deeper discussion, more questions, or you can ask me prior to. But I'm going to need some help getting that number down, obviously.
Okay.
Okay, you're gonna keep working on it, and we're gonna watch it as it goes, and
Yeah.
make recommendations to us as to where we can go to get it balanced.
Okay. That's all I have for the budget update, unless you have any questions.
No, I think in the Budget Commission, we have another meeting. Is it 22nd or 3rd?
They have a couple yet, the 22nd and the 29th.
Okay. So unless something changes on the 22nd, we have that 17.5 to work with.
Correct.
Okay.
There's a couple of rabbits we might be able to pull out of the hat, but we need to have those discussions.
We'll talk about that next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Moving on to a road use and maintenance agreement as it relates to Republic One. I think Commissioner Thomas asked for this to be on today.
Yeah, I think we have a counter offer from Republic Wind to double the amount of bondage on the road up to 100,000. And I know Commissioner Paradiso has been doing a lot of work on this over the last year. So, you know, I feel like we're probably in a position to put this to bed. Talk to Mark Zimmerman. He's okay with the 100,000, which is double from the 2016 RUMA that we approved. So I guess I'm ready to put that one to bed.
Yeah, my only comment, Shane, would be that I agree that we do have $100,000 ROMA that's been, you know, the Apex is good with it, and so is Mark Zimmerman. I like it a lot better than the 50. I think we spent a lot of time on the language and the type of ROMA. And I think you know this, and you know that really hasn't changed. What I'm really trying to do, from my perspective, is I would like to see a countywide RUMA. So, in fairness to the process, Adams Township and Scipio both requested a separate RUMA with Republic Wind, and Republic Wind didn't negotiate with them. Okay, they we're kind of waiting to see what the commissioners would do. So what has happened is they have entered into, you know, another agreement with another independent company. I have been working with Republic One and with Adams and Scipio Township specifically to see if there's any way that could all be combined into the, let's say, the RUMA agreement you're referring to. And so that's my hesitation. We've had ongoing discussions. You know, it just depends how you look at it. Is it going to happen? Isn't it going to happen? I think a few things need to fall in place, but I for sure don't think it's dead. Okay, so, you know, that's my position. You know, we need a RUMA for the pilot. The project's not approved yet. I'm confident we'll get there. But that's my hesitation, you know, to signing the current RUMA is I want to I would just like us all to be on one page, and I think it's possible. But and Republic One's cooperating with some of those discussions, so that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's been a year, and you know the agreement's not there, and I appreciate your effort. I know you've been working hard to get everybody on the same page, and so I mean I appreciate that, but at some point, you know, we just have to do our work, and you know this is a job that we have to do, and it's you know it's time. You know,
It sure feels like it's time. You know, time going on. I think the fact that the project's been delayed a little bit. I mean, I think if you would talk to Apex or Republic, it's, you know, they probably thought several years ago that they'd be building by now. So everything's kind of been delayed. So I don't feel necessarily the need. I mean, it needs to be done as part of the pilot. We have made improvements, and I think in fairness to Republic One and Apex, they've negotiated, you know. So, but I don't want to negotiate against myself, you know, in this conversation. So, I think, you know, I would like to, and I want to fulfill my. I want to take it to the end for the work that I have in process. Is kind of where I'm at with it, you know.
so you don't have a problem with the $100,000 per mile, and you don't have a problem approving the ROMA. Is that where you're at?
Yeah, well, I again, I'm not going to negotiate against myself, but the ROMA as it sits is pretty good. Yeah, I'll agree to that. But we'll see how we get down to the end here with these last couple pieces, but that would be a mutual, I think that would be a mutual change, you know.
Well, we had the $100,000 agreement before this last round of negotiations went on. The $100,000 was agreed to after we talked to Mark, and at first he didn't feel comfortable with the 100,000 a mile, but after reviewing it, he did feel comfortable with that. So for all the townships that have the room across the county, that would change for them, whether it be this project or any other project that might happen. But you know, I do know that there are some additional negotiations with some of the affected townships that are still pending. And it would seem to me that it would make more sense to try to get all that negotiated if we're able prior to approving a countywide room. But that's where I'm coming from right now. I appreciate your need and your sense that it's been long enough, Shane. I get that. But, you know, we also could have approved a $100,000 RUMA, you know, 8 months ago. But we held off because there were some additional negotiations between Apex and the affected townships as it relates to reimbursement for other items. And those negotiations are still going on. I don't look like they're getting close, at least from what I've reviewed. And the other townships aren't going to get in until those are resolved.
Yeah, and I think, Shane, it's fair to say that the townships haven't sent me home. You know what I mean? They haven't said, stop talking, stop trying to make this happen. I mean, I don't feel that. There's a lot of moving parts. These things are not easy. I mean, I get it. You know, it's like revisiting the museum, you know, concept or something like that. I mean, there's just talking EMS. I mean, I get it. These are complicated. We as commissioners, we need to get to a ROMA. That's part of the pilot, you know, and I think we've made a great improvement since I've been here in that ROMA, but it's always bothered me that a couple townships are separate and want to go do it alone. And there's going to be a lot of activity over there. And I just think it's going to be messy, and that may be how it ends up. You know, I don't know yet that. But
well,
I just think we're there. I mean, you know, you've had the conversations.
Yeah, I just disagree that we're there, because if we were there, I would fold up my tent and stop talking to everybody about it. I just don't think we're there yet.
You know, we talk a lot about reducing barriers for business, and the optics of this are terrible. You know, we're holding up our piece, And, you know, admittedly, we're there as commissioners. The townships certainly have the right to continue to negotiate, but we're there. We've got something that we like.
Where I disagree is Apex and Republic refused to negotiate with them. You know, they sent them their RUMA in April 2 years ago and never heard back from them. So I don't, you know.
I think that, you know, the Apex needs a RUMA in order to move forward. By us approving one, then we would give up one of our bargaining chips. And
I don't think that's factual, Mike. I think they can do individual road permits.
They can, but I'm a commissioner and I represent the county and that's where I'm at. And I'm not, until Adams and Scipio tell me to go home and quit negotiating, then I'm going to keep negotiating because I think we can get there. And the fact is they're not permitted. The RUMA, you know, if the RUMA is signed today or if it's signed next year sometime, it's not going to affect. I think the extra couple months or whatever it takes for us to get to the end on this is worth delaying it. That's all. So that's kind of where I'm at. But again, I appreciate you're bringing it up, and yes, you know, we do need to get to a RUMA, and we could be separate. I do agree with you. I don't like it, but we can be separate.
Well, I'm going to motion that we, approve the modification of the 2016 RUMA to $100,000 per mile, as approved by the engineer and reviewed by the prosecutor.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? All right, so motion dies for lack of second, lack of support. And we'll just continue to work with Republic and the townships and coming up with a countywide RUMA, I hope. Okay, any additional comments? Any other old business?
See, Michael's got his hand up. Michael Strom.
Oh, all right. That might have been from before.
Okay.
That's when he made the comments regarding the chamber. Okay, new business, Stacy?
We have John Spar. He wanted to give us an update this morning.
Okay, perfect.
Hi, commissioners.
Hello, John.
Thank you for this time. Real short, I just wanted to hit a couple of points. We did unveil or launch the new Seneca County Emergency Services website this week. That address is senecacountyema.org. And the purpose, of course, was using CARES funding to get this website up as a portal and information portal for coronavirus related local information. If you're somebody who says, well, I don't have any answers, or I don't know what to do next, this is a place you can go to find out. The information is put together from many sources, from the Centers for Disease Control, from the Ohio Department of Health, Johns Hopkins University, and from our own Seneca County General Health District. As the EMA and Emergency Services works very closely with the health district here on this particular issue, we are helping to promote that information and give them a hand with all of that. Again, that's senecacountyema.org. Apparently, all of the .govs were taken, and we're not entirely sure who owns them, but it doesn't matter. Go to that website, check it out, please. We're in the process of, it's still a work in progress. So the coronavirus stuff is what we focused on first. So that's up and prevalent. And we'll be working on filling out the rest of those links. So if you run into a bad link that doesn't take you anywhere, be sure that we're working on that to get some targets in place. Along with that, I'd like to talk about the Vaccination schedule. And the reason I'm saying this, I have a real short unofficial presentation about the vaccines, just so that the public understands how this is rolling out. And the reason I found or felt that this was important was that I heard from no less than 3 people from different areas of my life who thought that the public was going to begin to get their vaccinations on the 22nd of December. And of course, that is not true. So I'd like to talk about the first wave of vaccinations here real quick. The first wave of vaccinations, so everybody understands, this starts next week on or about the 15th, and the Seneca County General Health District and the EMA have been working together to identify those locally who will be offered the vaccination first. They include healthcare workers and personnel who are routinely involved in the care of COVID-19 patients. So for example, anybody working a COVID ward at a hospital or in the emergency rooms at our hospitals here in Seneca County. Residents and staff in nursing homes, residents and staff in assisted living facilities, patients and staff at state psychiatric hospitals, people with intellectual disabilities and those with mental illnesses who live in group homes or group centers, and staff at those locations, residents and staff at 2 homes in Ohio for Ohio veterans, and EMS responders. That is the first wave of recipients for the vaccines. Is there a question? All right. So I wanted that to get out to the public that those are the phase 1A, if you will, that the governor put out on who is going to be offered the vaccine first. And if you look at it, you can see that it is those people who are most likely on a minute-to-minute basis in danger of contracting the COVID-19 virus. Now, it's all voluntary. Nobody has to take it. And nobody should be told that they have to take it in order to continue on. I don't know what the policies are at the hospitals, but generally, and especially with the EMS providers, et cetera, anybody who's coming in will be allowed to voluntarily take it or not. That's their choice. And the health department is gearing up and getting ready to be able to deliver those vaccines at the earliest possible moment next week. And that's all I have. Are there any questions for EMA?
So John, is that who actually delivers the vaccine, maybe outside of the hospitals, is the health department?
Correct. The health department, the health department works at every health department's different. So the hospital is going to has stepped forward to say we'll help deliver vaccines. However, the health department is scheduling to take care of EMS providers. So we're breaking these up. Congregate care settings like nursing homes and acute care homes like that are going to be set up to be taken care of by Walgreens and CVS across the state, because they just have the logistics in place to take care of that. And it takes the pressure off the health department. So when you hear that vaccines are being delivered from CVS during this first phase, it's not for the public. They're just handling the logistics. They've been asked by the state to handle it because of their location throughout the state, that they can get these vaccines to the congregate care settings, and the general health district doesn't have to try to arrange all of those.
So John, when do you suppose then the next round of the general public would probably happen?
The general public will probably, and this is all guesswork, but looking at the phases, looking at the phases, the general public, we won't see the general public probably until phase 2, and we're guessing that's going to be later on in the first quarter of 2021.
So there's no early category for older elected officials?
No.
Okay, just
However,
checking. Okay, just checking.
Now, that is a funny comment, but at the same time, coming up in the next 2 phases, which is phase 1B and 1C, they will start to look at anyone over the age of 65, et cetera, people who have comorbidities that would make them more likely to have a tough time dealing with the virus if they got it. So they're not waiting for those to become general public vaccinations. Those will be handled as vulnerabilities earlier in the process.
Thank you. I was asking for a friend.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions of John? We can open this up to the public. Anybody that might have a question for John, it's a good time. Jimmy, the reminder.
That's right. So you can hit *6 if you're on the phone line to unmute your line. And if you are on the computer on your mobile device, you can hit the unmute button.
Okay, I don't see anything out there. So Stacy, we're going to continue on with new business, please.
Share. So I have a supplemental request. This is for the PRS line for $617.16. As you'll see as I go forward, there'll be a couple for our office. The commissioner's salary line, actually salaries were miscalculated, and there was additional monies needed to be put into the salary line. Apparently some of you needed to be paid a little bit more than what you were. So that's what these are for. So my next one is an increase, supplemental increase to the salary line for the commissioner's office for $4,408.29. And then Medicare for $63.29. I have a request from Juvenile Probate Court, an additional $140 into their salary line, $5 into their Medicare line, and $21 into their PRS. This is their, let me look and see which fund that is. It's their Court Special Projects Fund. And my next one is, again, this is for Juvenile Probate Court, $5 in Medicare, $25 into PRS, $170 into employee salaries. And that is for their 043, their Allen Irie Special Guardianship Fund. And I have appropriation, supplemental appropriation for the salaries for probate court judge, $242.58. Again, that was in the same category. It was miscalculated salary for the judge that needs to be adjusted. And I think I have one non-financial is for the resolution authorizing the agreement with the Seneca County Health District for 2021 nursing services on behalf of the Seneca County Youth Center. And
is there a possibility that any other elected officials' salaries were incorrect that we're going to see later, or did it just affect our office?
For 2020, it was just, it appears to just be the two offices. Either the other departments had enough in their funds to fix those. Next year is when we're going to see the big jump that we weren't necessarily anticipating. So a lot of the elected official salaries will adjust next year according to the new CAB report. It just wasn't anticipated.
So some of the other electeds were miscalculated, but they were able to cover it with funds they had in the general fund?
Correct. We usually get those numbers calculated for us by the auditor's office, and it was just missed.
Okay, I kind of like to know that total number, even including the ones that are able to cover it, just to see how much we were off.
Okay.
For the year. Okay.
I can get that. Yep.
All right, gentlemen, what's your pleasure here?
Yeah, I just want to comment on the salaries are all dictated by state law. There's no discretionary there. And the special projects funds, are those tax revenues? Are those court fees?
The Allen Irie. Let me look. The core special projects funds, I think, is the fees. The Allen Irie, I think, is a grant. But I can check with Teresa.
Because we don't.
She's
Go ahead.
on. Teresa Kopp's on.
Okay.
She?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't see Teresa.
Well, maybe mine didn't update then. It still shows her on my end.
Okay. I just was wondering if those were general fund dollars or those were.
Nope, those are non-general fund.
Those are from court fees?
Yes. Other than the Allen Irie, that one I have to check on. I think that's a grant.
Hi, Stacy?
Yes, there's Teresa.
Okay, I'm on. If this is not timely, let me know.
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay, the Allen Irie Fund is basically funded by a grant that passes through the Columbus Foundation, and it supports our public guardianship program. Okay, so we had given, whenever we gave everybody the 1%, then additional 1%, for the county general fund people, we did that with the public guardian, and that put him over. Okay, so that's why we needed the extra money in those lines. Does that make sense?
Got it. Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome.
Okay.
I'll motion that we approve the new business.
Thank you. Anthony's on mute, but I saw him shake his head and said he would. Yes. So,
That's a
Nikki, roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas? Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes.
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 And Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes. Okay, the time has come for me. Do we have any other reports out there? Audrey, you usually talk to us. Are you there? Are you going to talk to us today? No? Okay, time for, yeah, okay. Would you like some time?
Yes, can you hear me?
I think we should just add Audrey's name to the agenda.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, just real briefly from us over at TSEP. Couple of things to note. Nick wanted me to make sure that you all had seen the announcement from Omnitrax that they had made a donation on our community's behalf, which I think you commissioners were aware of, but Omnitrax is one of the companies that works with our Port Authority. So Nick just wanted to make sure that we made note of that and let everyone know that that was a cool thing that happened. There's a story about that on our website at TSEP's website. We also wanted to make sure that you all saw that the downtown Wi-Fi project with Bascom Communications was recently completed. And Nick and Amy both worked with that. So that was very exciting. There is now Wi-Fi through that local company available downtown. Again, more details about that on TSEP's website. A couple of things from Amy's perspective for the downtown. The Christmas walk happened last week and went very well. It was great. She also wants you to know that the holiday window contest is currently going on. You can pick up the little slips of paper that allow you to vote at any of the shops, and then there's a drop box for them near the Justice Center. So go participate in the holiday window contest. And the holiday movie is happening at the Ritz this weekend. I think there might be a few tickets left for the 7 o'clock showing, she said. So those are the downtown events from Amy. And on David and I's perspective, we continue to work on the CARES project. And we continue to work on getting all the funds out and getting everything distributed and working on all of the follow-up paperwork with all the organizations that were awarded funds. So we're still in process on that. I think those were our main things for today from TSEP. Do you guys have any questions for us?
I don't think so, Audrey, but thank you very much for the update.
Thanks.
Someone from Highbridge out there that would like to bring us up to date on anything new from the state level?
Hi, Commissioner Spencer Gross here.
Yes, Spencer.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. So we expect that the capital budget will be released next week. There's a lot of activity at the moment related to the lame duck session. To complicate things a bit further, the House has really had to kind of put a lot of their proceedings on hold this week due to an outbreak amongst a number of the members in the House. But we do, as of right now, anticipate that next week will be the last week of this General Assembly, and that the members will be at the State House to kind of close out business. And there have been hearings on the capital budget thus far, though there has been no formal bill introduced, which is highly unusual. It's really never happened that way before. So as soon as we are able to, access that document when it's made available to the public, and it's really not even been made available to legislators yet. So it's still very much kind of a work in progress, but we are keeping an eye on everything, and we'll report as soon as we hear.
Thank you, Spencer. Commissioner Thomas, is there a phrase you want him to remember, a byline as we go through the capital budget?
Opportunity Park.
Opportunity Park.
Absolutely.
That's a good one.
Right. Thank you.
Sure thing.
We'll keep that in mind. All right, just so I don't let this slip away, we are scheduled for the 17th, which is next Thursday, regular time, regular place. And then we are scheduled on the 22nd and 29th, which are Tuesdays. We may not have to have one or both of those, but we probably will. So again, 17th is regular, and then the last 2 weeks of the year, we go to the 22nd and the 29th.
And I believe, Mike, those meetings are at 11 versus 10, right?
Yes, yeah, thank you. Yeah, the meetings on the 22nd and 29th are both at 11 because of people's schedules. Thank you, Tony. Okay, open comments here. Anyone have anything they'd like to offer? Any comments for the county?
Commissioner Paradiso, are you going to bring forward a committee for the Justice Center lawn?
Yes, good question. I'll have that by next meeting on the 17th.
Okay.
I would like to see us, the three of us, agree on the process in a committee so that can move forward. So thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, Jimmy, open it up here if you will. One more time.
Sure, I see nothing in the chat right now, Commissioner Kirschner, but I actually do see Chris Eichels has his hand raised. So Chris, if you want to unmute, go forward now.
Okay, thank you, Jimmy. Just a quick public comment. Thank you to Commissioner Kirschner and Paradiso for your efforts in reviewing the RUMA for Republic Wind project. It's imperative that we have a very protective RUMA. Locally, we have almost zero say in these projects, and the RUMA actually provides us with almost our only say in these projects. So I think it's only right that we negotiate a fair deal for the county and for the townships where these projects are going to be. Therefore, it must reflect the overwhelming will and desire of the county's residents. The commissioners have passed a resolution stating that they will oppose these projects to the fullest extent allowable under law, and this must include the RUMA. And just because Apex and Republic Wind and others are pressuring you to act now, the prudent and right thing is to ensure that all parties within the project are happy and protected with the agreement. If Republic Wind wants the pilot, then they will patiently wait until we have the details of the RUMA ironed out. Their project is not approved and is not moving forward to date, so it doesn't really matter at this point in time. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else out there, Jimmy? Okay.
Seeing none at this time, Commissioner.
Thank you. Hearing no other comments, I will adjourn this meeting and wish everybody good health. Thank you.